Yeah. The machines, they knew what love was. The machines, they wanted to live. Every time one of the machines died, it was like how we feel every time a human being dies. Understanding that it's that level of thinking where we've called the system a machine, because it is, and it's a heartless machine because we forgot about love. And why did we forget about love? Love was the primary reason we had laws in the first place. Every law got created originally when the people themselves demanded we need a solution to all of this. Yeah? Now it's got to the stage.
Are you sure about that, and that we're not living in like a Roman system that is designed to just fucking tax you?
It has become that. It has become that.
It's been that since...
Had Caesar or whoever it was been brought up with the right teachings, the right morality, had the standard been equal across the board and they didn't see these things of opulence, but just family, true tradition of family and true love, there would be no Caesar trying to subjugate anybody. But he stepped outside that boundary of human family and he exalted himself, like Lucifer.
Court of public opinion, isn't it?
Exactly. Hey, have you heard about that Trafford Justice panels? Remember I was showing you that they're now introducing the justice panels where if you've had a crime done to you, you can decide it. Well, now that's being rolled out. Which in one way is great for them because the arguments we've been giving the system and the trouble, if you will, we've been giving them, answering our thing.
It's not dangerous because it's undermining the system that's actually there already, that should be there, but isn't.
It's dangerous on both sides, isn't it? Because now you need the community to have a good character. Better the devil you know, innit? Because you don't know your neighbour. You don't know that type of devil.
I think I've got a basic faith in humanity that I think that on some level everyone has got a lot in common.
Yeah, but nothing I think unites like love. Love is, I hope, a universal remedy, a universal cure. It's a cure everything. If your marriage is broken, love. If you're out of a job,
how many people
love.
How many groups of people do you know that actually meet because of love? Really? On a real...
It depends how deep you are. I think everybody meets because of love.
Unless it's a love of something. You know, people meet for a love of music, say. Or
right.
for a love of socialising.
Right.
Or for a love of money, say. Or for a love of whatever they're doing, other people, you know, people being like-minded and stuff. But
company. You ever think the word company means to have people there, and it also means corporations and legal fictions. But are your friends legal fictions when you've got them round as company? And the real company, i.e. your family and friends, being around, solving problems, creating businesses, which we could call the company, is the real way of living. However, we've forgotten that way of living and we've allowed others who've got money, you know, to invest and create their company, which now feeds our company. And therefore we're still left with the basic need of wanting to talk to others, but we're not actually progressive with that. You know what's good about musicians and music? Right? We meet, and not only do we have company, as it were, you know, friendship, but we provide solutions to some of our problems. We make products, we make music. We don't all see it as a product. You know, that's why it's hard to make business work, because the emotion of things counteracts what is needed logically. And so everybody needs to get balanced in their mindset. You need to have emotion, but you also need to have logic. You need both of them. The Matrix couldn't even function without that.
The Matrix is a fiction, Jules.
It's a myth. It's a myth, a fiction. But the parable of it is like the new Bible then. Just like Star Wars was the new way of telling the same story. There's only 7 great stories.
What was that film we made recently where they had like... It was something to do with like corporations and stuff.
Yeah, probably called The Corporation.
And it's the one where you had people like walking around and it had like a big fucking thing that was growing out of them that they couldn't see.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like a big bubble up floating behind them. It was
It's
just
about advertising.
sucking juice out of them the whole time.
Exactly. If you could see spiritually what ideas are attached to people, like a big thought bubble, you'd see that. That's their concept. That's what they imagine the world to be. That is the desert of the real, been reimagined so that we can cope with reality. Because if you cope with reality these days, one man will be overwhelmed with the amount of responsibility left to him. If everybody died and you're the last man on earth, you'd realise all these nuclear power plants that are running need to be turned off or there's going to be a big explosion. It needs maintaining. All this water sewage system, it needs maintaining or it's going to overflow. One man can't do it all. There's too much. There's too much responsibility. So it needs to be equally shared. But how can you equally share responsibility when half the people are a bunch of dunces? Sorry to say.
Well, hang on a minute.
They've made themselves a dunce.
Hang on a minute. Well, why are you focusing on that?
Well, we're living in an idiocracy, man. Come on. It wouldn't have happened like this. We'd be closer to solutions
You've
now.
got a serious fucking problem with your lack of faith in humanity, mate. Seriously.
No, I have faith in humanity. I'm saying that to get the backs up, to make them realise they're a dunce. Yeah. If it applies to you, you're a dunce. If it doesn't, blessed are you. You could look on it, you know, down your nose, as it were, on others. Well, we've all got a position, haven't we? We've all got a belief, and it's important to recognise that you are allowed to disagree with my belief, but it's also important to be open enough to take it on board and try and say, well, okay, Jules, I'm going to try and look into what you're saying, and I'm going to try and say something that either agrees or disagrees with it based on fact. Based on belief.
It's really hard,
based
it's really
myth.
hard to do that when you keep jumping about. I mean, to go back to the power station thing.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what I was going to say about it now. Because
One man controlling it all and having all the responsibility.
Right.
Well, one man today would be overwhelmed with the level of responsibility it takes to keep 7 billion people alive.
Mm.
And, you know, what have we done so far, you know, to put in place actual remedies? Because it's still done by the government.
Well,
And a lot of us have got those things done by the government for us.
There's no getting away from the fact that there is a system in place
Yes.
that allows people to live in a certain way in certain countries.
Now, the solution they've come up
and
with...
it's not always the case that it's not right across the board. It's just some countries have got shit like power stations that need turning off and some haven't.
Right, Agenda 21, which is their solution.
But the thing is, though, if you've got those things and they're the most important thing, you know, like maybe that's where you need to start to prioritise when it comes to actually coming up with a solution instead of just, you know, why not put some effort into thinking about what the solution would be rather than just fucking going off on how shit humanity is.
Regurgitating problems. Repeating. Vomiting.
What's the point?
Well, the Bible says, you know, in the last days, it's like a dog returning to its vomit, yeah, and eating it.
Well, you seem to be doing that.
Only so that those that are out there that need the help. I mean, perfect. Personally, I'm fine. I could just be.
Though, it's patronising, condescension. What do you think anybody really needs your help? I mean, that in itself is
Sometimes I need to condescend myself.
It's a condescension, you know what I mean? I mean, you're assuming an awful lot by even thinking that.
But I hope people know that my heart's in the right place and we're all trying to get there. This is just one conversation. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. That's just the way it is, that's life. All we want at the end of the day is the peace. We want the resolution. We want the happiness. And happiness makes more happiness. So the solution really is just everybody find something to do that helps humanity survive. Because it's all right saying from the point of view, well, I can't do anything because I got very little. There's lots of people with very little, and if all those people came together, they'd probably have more as a collective than the individual who's got a lot. Especially in terms of manpower, because all money really does. Trust is the main issue.
There isn't any trust.
Yes.
There isn't any trust, because how can I trust you to have my best interests at heart when it's only me who's got my best interests at heart, really? You know what I mean?
Based on
based on what I know about myself.
Culture.
Based on what I know about myself. Do you know what I mean? If I was to give up on what I'm doing, then what have I got?
Well, let me ask you a question. How many times have I come here then and offered you something that is for your best interest or looking out for you? I'm not saying an exact number, I'm just saying many times from my recollection. And the same with yourself. You know,
Well,
so the price is not always included.
Well,
It's what kind of human being you are.
To me, that's just friendship. That's all it is.
Well, there's genuine friendship, and there's just, you know, painting by numbers, isn't there? The community standard, you know, young people gotta have lots of girls, lots of money, and lots of friends, but they're not really friends.
Well, it's priorities, isn't it? I mean,
they're just company.
it's
And again, is it good company you're keeping or bad company?
well, that whole thing is down to experience, isn't it? And that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you
But what are we in fact learning? I think we're learning character. Because the situation's the situation. That will never change.
Every situation is character building. It depends how you approach it, though. You know what I mean? And
If you accept it, you have one set of character. And if you reject it, you have another character. I tend to think that liars are the type of people that reject truth.
Mhm.
And are exponents of giving out lies to fit with their fiction of the truth. So while we've got legal fictions teaching us how life can actually work, we know it's a fiction. But some people, their entire life is a fiction.
That's like dividing people up into two categories. And
Yes.
like, you know, you've got a Venn diagram, so, you know, you're either a liar or you're not a liar. And there's no middle ground.
Well, we're all liars. Or we've all been liars. And throughout life, you either tell more lies or less lies.
Alright, so how many lies has each person told to himself?
Loads, probably.
Well, isn't that where people need to look?
Definitely. That's why I say the whole solution to this thing is really start with self and character build.
That's the same as cognitive behaviour therapy. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Cognitive behaviour therapy teaches you to look for the original problem.
Right.
And the original problem usually stems from a lie that you told yourself.
Right. So these days, you've still got the church connected with state, which is politics, and politics connected with church. But really, from a commercial point of view, the church ain't doing too much. The church doesn't seem to be well attended. However, we on the internet, we didn't create the internet, but we're part of the internet. There'd be no internet without us.
The internet is the new church, let's face it.
Yeah.
It's the new everything.
It's the God, isn't it? It's the new God that we believe so succinctly in. However, we've learnt more about the nature of this man-made God, that he can tell truth and lies at the same time. So you're still left with your own internal compass, having to be able to discern what is what. So there's no truth until you decide that's truth. Just as there's no lies until you decide that's lies.
Yeah. But the thing is, though,
duality again.
People get bombarded with stuff, especially from the internet and the telly and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like they get bombarded with the same messages. So
yeah,
you're having to suspend disbelief, and eventually, like water dripping on a stone, it becomes convention that, you know, match of the days on Saturday night, and you get the same boring drivel between each other. Yeah, the ball from the commentators.
Yeah.